3, 2, 1. We live. All right. You good?
Mm-hmm.
How you feel?
Good.
Feel good? Okay. Great. Let's open this up a little bit. Okay. What you want to talk about today?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know what you want to talk about?
Nah.
Well, listen. I got something I want to talk about.
Okay.
Relax. You relaxed?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you was in there and you was making fun of me because you didn't think that I was like hip. Is hip a word that y'all use? You know what hip mean?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't use the word hip.
No.
So help me. So what word?
We don't really use any word. It's just
Like when you in, like when you in, like you in, what do they call it now? Like you in the mix. What do you call it when you up with the times and stuff?
you hit.
You hip?
Mm-hmm. You
Oh,
hip to it.
well, I said hip.
There's one of them. Not all people say it, but I forget the ones that people in school use. Don't judge me. I'm forgetful.
How's she gonna sit there and tell me that I ain't hip and gonna be like, oh no, you don't use those kind of words, blah blah. You don't use those kind of words, and now she don't even know what, man. So anyway, here's what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You think Tutu want to get in on this conversation? Tutu,
I'm like, you want me to ask her?
Tutu, you want to get in on this conversation? You pass. Okay, Tutu gonna pass. Um, I have kind of a not so playful platform. It's kind of serious. I'm concerned about things that affect our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, and one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you back again, number one, you're such a great guest to have. The last time, I mean, my views went through the roof because of you. I got viewed like 500,000 times. You popular.
No,
You like the Kardashians.
No, I'm not.
Like what's the one little young one? What's her name? The one that I don't even know. The Kardashian, the young one.
I don't watch the Kardashians. I don't watch stuff like that.
Oh, you don't? What? You don't watch that.
It's not something. It's not.
It's not appealing.
Yeah.
Can I use the word appealing?
Yeah.
Is that okay word? I'm just saying because I can't use like words like hip or.
You see how you do me?
Hip or in style or I'm with it. Can I use with it? Okay. We'll move on. Okay, so listen. I wanted to talk to you today. I need to set up straight. I wanted to talk to you today because I want to be remembered a certain way. I'm a few years older than you, just a few, not many. What, I got you about like 10 years? I mean, we close in age.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we close in age.
No, we're not.
You don't ever want to. You right around. You 40 something, right?
Nope. I'm 13. Nope.
You ain't no 13.
Yes, I am.
Me and you the same age.
No,
I'm 20 something. I'm 20 something. Anyway, because we close age. One day, Halo, God say the same, hopefully, that I'll go to heaven before you do. And when I go to heaven, you're going to still have hopefully another 100 years here, right? If the Lord if he does not come back for us,
Mm.
right? I want to be remembered in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to do this because this is going to kind of speak to what I want to be remembered by.
Mm.
I want, back when my mom and dad was growing up and my grandmother and grandfathers were growing up, they didn't have video like we have right now. If technology doesn't change a whole lot, in the next 15, 20 years, 30 years, I'm believing by faith that I'm gonna be here for at least another 50 years. Okay. At least 50, minimum 50 years. So if I am here that long, and then you're gonna be here at least another 150. So you'll be able to look back because of this technology and see, this is grandpa. And grandpa said very positive things. You'll be able to look at the history of all the stuff that I presented to the world, because it's on the World Wide Web, right? YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that different stuff, right? So I want those words, and when you look at me, I want it to impact you in a very positive way. I'm concerned about that. That's important to me, that I leave a legacy, not just of wealth with you. We talk about legacies, and we really equate that to wealth. And wealth is not always monetary wealth. Riches is not always the best thing to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a person does not have the right words to garner, to be able to manage those riches and the wealth, then the wealth is no good to the individual. So I want to leave you more than riches. I do want to leave you wealth. Wealth can be defined in a much bigger way than money. It can be. So part of my wealth that I want to leave with you is the wealth of words and deeds and events. I want you to be able to look and say, man, I remember this. This was my granddad. Man, he was awesome. And I remember this day when we was doing this and doing that, because I don't have as much as I want to have in my memory bank about my history that was very positive. And so I want to be able to positively affect your future positively. And so today I want to talk to you about words and events that shape our lives. Words and events that shape our lives. And so I'm gonna get the party started. Is it okay if I say like get the party started?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean when I say get the party started?
Yep.
Okay, so getting the party started is there was some very critical words that I heard when I grew up, and I was probably about 7. So I was about 7 years old. So when I was coming up, I came up during an era when they had what was called race riots. There was a lot of tension between black folks and whites, right? So I came up during the 70s, and during that time, the word nigger was very pronounced. And so I got called that when I went to school, because I went to predominantly, it was really a white school. It was only a handful of black people, not even a handful, I don't think, of black people that went to that school. And so during that time, I was surrounded by racial tension, and I had to deal with that. My mom had to go to the end of the beginning of the road to watch us all the way as far as she could see to get to school, because we walked to school, and then she had to go back to that road to watch us come home. And the reason why is because we had to fight all the way going to school, and we had to fight coming back. I was primarily me. My brother they didn't pick on him for some reason. I don't know why. But me, I got picked on. And so I had to fight for many, many days. And it was It was very challenging for me. During those fights, I will get called niggas a lot. Nigga, they say, nigga, go back to Africa and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I heard it and it didn't sound good. The word nigga is a very elementary term. It is a word that is fulfilling, but it has no value to it. It's one of the only words that can be used in our grammar, in our language, in our English vernacular, that you can say it to an individual, white or black, and it brings about satisfaction, but it does not have any it does not have any um, power attached to it. It's not a relevant word. It's an easy word to go to use because most people use it because it satisfies and they don't know another word to use.
Mhm.
So it's easy for me to just pick out nigga. Black folks use it amongst black folks all the time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's an easy word to use, yet it carries no value to it, but it satisfies.
Mhm.
You know, so if I say, you know, you nigga, you know, it does the job, but it's like eating a whole lot of donuts. You know, it hits the spot,
Mhm.
but when you get finished, it make your stomach hurt. It's gonna give you worms, and you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get developed. Yeah, if you continue to eat it, that's what the word nigger does. That's what I mean by it has no value.
Mm.
It's not potent. It's not potent. So it's not a healthy word to use. I wish we would get rid of using that. I used to really fight people about when I say fight, I don't mean fight like that, but I mean like, listen, that's not a healthy word to use. Health is the word that I'm really looking for. It's the word nigga is not a healthy word. It's not a word that promotes a positive environment.
Mm.
It doesn't leave you, it leaves you empty, right? Minus the satisfaction of a sweet tooth, if you will. You know, so yeah, I can eat donuts, but what does donuts do for me? See, candy, I could eat candy, but what does candy do for you? It's not, it tastes good, right?
Mhm.
But it don't do your body good. And that's the same way the word nigga is.
Mm.
As very, it's a very negative word, has very negative connotations to it. I said all that to say this. Those words, when I was coming up in the 70s and they were directed at me from the opposite race, from white folks, I heard them, I expected them from white people.
Mm.
And they just kind of hit. I didn't, I mean, it was hurtful, but it was normal too. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I didn't understand the significance of the environment that I was in. So I want to say words. We're talking about words and events that shaped our lives. The first time that I can reflect back, and I'm finishing now. Um, but looking back on my life as a young boy, one of the words that shaped my life, and it meant a whole lot to me. And this is why I'm saying that I want you to be able to look back on conversations that you and I have had,
Mm.
or events that we've been at. You see me interacting with people, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or just amongst us, family, whatever it is.
Mhm.
I want you to be able to say, you know, this my grandpa was pretty cool in the sense that he said things that really shaped my life. That's what I want to do. I want to shape your life positively, though.
Mm.
So when I was 6 or 7, we used to visit my great grandmother, um, and my great grandmother on my mom's side. And as a young boy, I was rough. So I used to run and play and do all that kind of stuff. And I would fall and skin my knees and stuff a lot, right?
Mhm.
And so I remember one day going over there after I had skinned my knee, whatever, and I had a scab growing on my knee. So we went up. My grandmother had lived in a little efficiency. Okay. And at that time, she was probably in her 70s. I'm gonna say something like that. I don't even know. But it's probably somewhere right around there. So we would go to her house, and as a kid, like, a lot of young kids, it's it's challenging for the youth, for somebody your age, to go see your great grandpa and your great grandma.
Mhm.
It's boring. It's like there's no connection. It's like, man, ain't nothing to do. Come on, mom, we got to go over there. Are you serious? Well, your mom would have a connection because that would be her grandmother or her grandfather. But for you, it would be your great grandmother, your great grandfather. So when you get there, it's like nothing to do. That's the way we felt. And it's like, man, how long we gonna be here? Man, I want to get out of here because, man, we going up to see great grandma. My God, you get in there and it don't smell right. You got all the kind of stuff like that going on, right? That's how way a child thinks.
Mhm.
But my great grandmother said something to me, and she said something that impacted my life, and it shaped my life to this day. I was never offended by white folks using the N word, but the first time the N word seated, it settled inside of me. It came from my great grandmother. My great grandmother said to me one day, I was picking a scab off my knee. And this is what she said. And I want to say, to her defense, I want to say this because understand, she came out of slavery, and there was a whole lot of things that, they were limited with words.
Mhm.
So again, when somebody used the word nigger, is because they can't find a more suitable word to express themselves. So if you're angry, that fits the ticket for the moment. It satisfies what you want to say. It's the same way as cuss words.
Mhm.
So you can call somebody a B, you can call somebody a hole, all that type of stuff. Those words have no value to them, but they bring about immediate satisfaction. It's not good, but it's immediate satisfaction. And the only reason why is because they're not educated enough to find another word that would better inform the offense that's coming against them, and they can use that. So we use these negative terms, but they're not good. So my grandmother, and I'm not mad at her, but the first time that I was called a nigger was by my grandma. And this is what she said. She said, nigga, don't pick your scab. Don't you know that's your skin? I didn't know that. I was a little 7-year-old boy. And so when she said that, it startled me. Because I was sitting in like Indian position,
Mhm.
and my back was against the wall, and I'm just picking because wasn't nothing to do. We couldn't play. So I just had a scab right there, and I'm just picking my scab.
Mm.
And she said, nigga, don't pick your skin. She said, that's your skin. Don't you know that? And so that seated, that did something to me. And she didn't know that would stay with me for the rest of my life. That was the first time that I heard that word towards me from somebody in my color, towards me. Now, moreover, it was somebody of my color that had influence in my life to mold and to shape me. And so I'm bringing this to you today because it wasn't a positive shaping. And so as I was thinking, I said, I don't want to leave a legacy. And when my granddaughter looks back on my life, she sees a negative shaping. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of stuff. Oh, it's enough already that without doing anything to negatively affect your life, I've done enough to negatively affect other people's lives, right?
Mhm.
So it was important to me to uh, to come and talk about that today because that was one thing. It shaped me. It was a word that shaped my life in so many different ways. But it was one other thing that my grandmother said, great grandmother said to me. Wasn't to me. She said it, and this is what I mean by events. I'm talking about words that you hear and that you pick up that shape your life as well. The first time that I heard the word tricknology, it was from my great grandmother. And so my mom was going to church back then, but she was a new convert. She had just really started going. You know,
Mhm.
my mom was a young lady back then, right? And so my great grandmother was not a Christian per se. She was a Muslim.
Mm.
And so she said, it's a whole lot of technology going on down there at that church, in those Christian churches, because she was a Muslim. And so they was raised to think a little bit differently.
Mhm.
I'm saying that to say this, that now I use that term technology, right? Not so much that it's a whole lot of technology going on in the church, but the word she used, it started to shape my life to look at different things in life to see trickery.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, I didn't really know a word for it. You know, this was deception. We got all those words. Those are big words, right? They,
Yeah.
they get on me for using them kind of big words. But my great grandmother used the word technology. And so we find technology in relationships. We find technology in politics. We find technology in schools, segregation of school systems.
You basically can find it anywhere.
You can find it anywhere, right? And so it became a word that it shaped my life. And now I use it to relate to so many different aspects of life.
Mm.
And I got that word from my great grandmother, not directly to me, but it was indirectly to me.
Mm.
And so that's the reason why I want to be, for you to be around me in different areas. But he's like, Paul said this. Or I saw Paul do this right here. And I want those things to positively affect your life. Now, you can learn from me positively or negatively, because when you're around me, you learn what to do, what to say, or you learn what not to do and what not to say.
Mm.
So my great grandmother, she affected me on one hand in a negative way, and on the other hand, she affected me really in a positive way
Mm.
by showing me something that stirred up. It settled on the inside of me to cause me to watch and to see what was really going on around me. And then once I was mature enough to understand that what is going on around me is really just a whole bunch of technology. My other grandmother, uh, on my mom's side, my mom's mother, she said something that really affected my life as a Christian. One day I was sick. I'm just gonna say sick, but I had a condition, so they thought I had a condition, and so I was on the job doing my job at work,
Mm.
and I fell out. I don't know if I ever told you about this or not. So I fell out. I lived in Mansfield at the time, and I
Mm.
was working, and I fell out, and I passed out on the job, and so I came to, and when I came to, I was in the hospital for where I work at.
Mhm.
It's just like a little dispensary. But I came to, but I didn't quite come all the way to. They called the rescue squad, and when I woke up, I was at that time it was called Mansfield General Hospital. So
Mm.
I was in the hospital, and I remember I was inside the elevator, and they was rushing me to ER. Okay. And so when I regained consciousness, the one of the people, I don't know who it was, they said to me, they said, um, well, your enzyme count was high. We believe you had a heart attack. Right. I was in my 20s. I was in my early 20s at that time. And so the short of a long story is they ended up, they admitted me into the hospital. I was in ER, and I was surrounded by all this big, high sophisticated team of heart specialists.
Mhm.
And they was all around my bed, and they was, doing this and doing that. And they called my grandmother, and so, they had their little thing that they did. They called my grandmother. When they called my grandmother, she came to the hospital, and I remember her coming. She used to wear dresses all the time, and back then they would wear knee highs. They were stockings,
Mhm.
but they called them knee highs, right? And so her knee highs, when she came in, her knee highs was down to her ankles, and she had house slippers on. But back then, because of the concern and the nature, they didn't worry about how they looked.
Mm.
They would just come. So when my grandmother came to the hospital, she moved the staff out the way, and went to. She was not taking no, like no. I like when they say, well, you can't go back and see him or her right now. Well, she wasn't taking that. So she came to my doors. It was real quick, and she said these words to me. She looked me in my eye, and she said, "You ain't gonna die." And from that time, if you ever hear me when I do my lives at the end of it, I say the worst is over, the best is yet to come. Your quality of life is getting better and better and better. And because of that, you will live and not die.
Mm.
Where that came from was what my grandmother said to me as a young man. She said, "You'll live. You're gonna live and not die." She says, "You ain't gonna die." The biblical pace was Ezekiel 16:16. But those were words that shaped my life. And so my grandmother been gone for I don't know how many years now. And when I reflect back on her, those are the things that I think about. And I think about that when I'm in critical situations. I
Mhm.
think about that when I get sick. I think about what would Granny do? How would she feel? How, in a situation like this? And um, so I wanted just to talk about that just a little bit. I think I done went over my time, but so you've heard enough of me. The question I want to ask you, as a young lady growing up, and you said that you say that you're 13, but I know that you like 20, 29.
I'm 13.
Uh, what has happened in your life that you can reflect on now that shaped your life, or what words can you think about that has shaped your life that you can recall? Because words and events are important, and we grow up, and there's a lot of stages we miss. I didn't really understand everything that was going on in my life until later.
Mm.
And so then later you become mature enough to reflect back on things that shaped you, but you didn't know was shaping you
Mhm.
when you was going through it. So I'm trying to give you a head start of sensitivity, so you would reflect on things now and say, "Wow, that was interesting," and then put thought with it. So that being said, what has it been in your life?
Mm.
Take your time. Don't worry about me. We okay.
um, I think Tutu said this. I think she said you don't have to like somebody in order to work with somebody. I don't know if it was Tutu or if it was somebody at school. But I think it was Tutu. And she said that if you're like working in a group or working in a partner and you don't really know them or you don't like them, it just don't be mean. Just mm, like be nice, but not like in a sarcastic way.
Mm, mm. I think we call that nice nasty. Like, is that what you mean? Like
Yeah.
you being nice, but it's in a nasty way. But you still being nice, but somebody could read into that and tell that I'm really I'm doing this cause I have to do it, or it's the right thing to do. but you know how I really feel about you. I ain't really feeling you right. That's okay. I got you. All right. So that's one thing. Anything else?
Mm.
At 29, you should have experienced, quite a bit.
Not 29.
Have you ever experienced any racism? I mean, you consider to be a what y'all Gen
Gen Z.
You Gen Z?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You that group that like y'all can marry animals and all that kind of stuff, right?
Wait, what?
Is something about y'all group where if you can have an affection.
Oh,
with,
we can identify as animals.
yeah,
What are you
like
talking about?
like that, like
Oh.
kind of like that. Yeah.
I heard of that, but
Oh, okay. Okay. So what was we talking about? You supposed to remember what we talked about, what we was talking about. You connected?
Yeah,
You can't be.
am. I'm connected, but as soon as like someone gets on a new topic, I focus on that and kind of forget about the other topic that we was talking about.
You can't be doing that.
I'm sorry.
You got to be able to maintain two topics at one time, at least two.
I don't have the brain capacity for that. Not yet. I can barely remember what I did on Wednesday.
Wait a minute.
Monday.
You say that you 13 and you can barely remember that.
But I can remember something that happened like 10 years ago.
Is it because what happened on Monday or Wednesday didn't interest you?
No, I just can't remember. That last week, it was like a mess for me.
Tutu, come here for a minute. Tutu, why are you so distant? Hey, Tutu, wait a minute. I ain't gonna put you on no camera. I got a question I want to ask you. Tutu, come on in here for a second. I got a question. Me and Halo going through some stuff. We talking about words and events that shaped our lives. And so she was telling me about an event that shaped her life, and she thought it was maybe something that you had told her, that you don't have to like a person to work with a person. See, I remembered that. You supposed to be able to remember that.
See, I remember that, but I don't remember the topic that we was talking about earlier.
I just don't understand this generation. I don't know if it's in the water, the food, or what. But anyway, so I was telling her about words that had shaped my life. And I told her that my great grandmother, the first time I heard the word nigga was my great grandmother called me a nigga. My great grandmother. That's your grandmother. Your great great grandmother. That's my great grandmother. So your great great grandmother on my mom's side. So that was my mom's dad's mother. And I told her when I grew up in the 70s and during the race riots, and I was being called niggas a lot by white folks, right? Mm-hmm. But I had never been called a nigga by somebody that meant something to me. I was like 7 years old. And so I was bad boy when I was coming up, and I used to run and fall and stuff like that. So I had scabs on my knees all the time. And so when we go over my great grandmother's house, I was have scabs, and I was picking my scab one day. And my great grandmother said, quit picking your skin, nigga. Don't you know that's your skin? And when she said that to me, I was telling Halo that it was the first time. Oh, Lord. It was the first time that I heard that term, especially coming from an elder. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so she looked at me, she didn't flinch. And I'll never forget her eyes and her facial expression.
Because
She was serious.
Yeah, she meant every word.
She meant every word she said. And but I had heard that coming from other folks, and I understood the spirit that was coming out of, so it didn't bother me as much. But to this day, when I look back and I look at that word and how degrading it is, and how it was to me, it still has that effect today. But when I look back, the first time it affected my life was I was a little boy. And so those are.
Are we talking about the N-word, or are we just talking about things that shaped our lives?
We just talking about things that I'm just giving you an example. So we just talking about something, a word or an event that shaped your life, whether positively or negatively, that it impacted your life.
No, okay.
And so I'm from the keep it real generation,
Chill. Yeah. So I did tell Halo that. I told her that everybody that you come in contact with, you don't have to like them, but you do have to respect them on some level.
Mm. You look cute today, by the way. Your hair and stuff. I don't see why you won't come in.
I'm not getting on the camera like a hot mess. But that's neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. Yes, praise God.
Okay.
But yeah, that is something that's crazy that she remembered that, though. I've told her a lot of stuff.
That's important. You see that? That's what I mean. Now that's case in point. That she said that to you. She has no idea how that impacted your life. Because I was telling her the reason why I was doing this is because I want to leave a legacy of more than just riches. Because we focus on money, but I want to leave a positive word. I want to leave positive events that she can look back on, and would give her a trajectory, if you will, for walking this path, this life out in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you said that what has happened to you though, or words that have been said to you, or events. I know you got a lot of them.
Oh Lord.
You can be as diplomatic as you would like, but yeah, I think it's important though, because we live in now based upon things that have happened to us, and often we don't realize that the reason why we respond the way that we do, our behavior is the way that it is, our socioeconomic status is the way that it is. All that is based upon words that we got or words that we didn't get. Things that we saw that was positive, things that we didn't see that was positive. And so, but they shaped us in some way, form, or fashion, right? And so I'm trying to contrast that now with my baby, because I'm getting older. I told her we was close in age. We all kind of right there together.
And
in
the fantasy world. Yes.
Okay, so hold on. Mama. Go ahead, Mom.
No, but in the lines of kindness and things of that nature. Like when I was growing up in school, like in Brinkerhoff, I remember being picked always to go and help out in classrooms. And I remember I think I was in 4th grade, and I got picked to go help the 2nd graders read. Mind you, I'm a terrible reader, okay? Horrible. So I'm like, oh my God, like y'all really want me to go help a 2nd grader read some books? I said, okay, well, 2nd grade books, they can't be too hard. Let's do it. So go down. Everybody that got picked to go down there rushed to go get their person. So I'm standing back like, okay, I don't see anybody in here that really look like they need help, except for this one little girl. I can't remember what her name was. She was a heavier set little girl. She wore glasses. She was always last to be picked for everything. Mm. So I felt like in that moment, like everybody treated her bad. Mm. And I'm like, why are people so mean to her? Like I sat down and I talked to her, she became one of my favorite people. always run up to me at this in playground, want me to play. I'm like, okay. Sometimes it got on my nerves because I ain't feel like it. But for the most part, in the lines of kindness, like I felt like everybody needed that olive leaf, so to speak. Like, yeah, people can be kind. They can be nice to you without having any motive or anything behind it, no matter who you are, what you do, how you look, still be liked. So from that point, I was like, I'm gonna make it a point for me to actually be kind to everybody. I mean, I was in a way, I fought a lot when I was a little girl, but that was because people were so mean to me. I had problems with my skin, so people picked on me a lot. So I kind of had a soft spot for people that got picked on. So I made it a point for me to be nice to everybody, no matter what you look like, no matter your background, no matter what it was. I was going to be nice and kind to you, so that you can feel how I wanted people to treat me.
Mhm.
So I put that out there in the earth. Got it back, but you got to plant the seed before you get it back. So did
Okay.
a lot of that when I was little.
Okay.
I don't know if that really went on the lines of what I was
It
talking
did.
about.
It
Yeah, it did.
did.
It was a life-changing event.
Yeah.
That was an event that shaped your life even to this day. That's what we talking about words and events. And you took the safe path. I like that. That's pretty clever of you to do that. Take the safe path and deal with an event instead of a word that shaped your life. Because I know it's a lot of words that you done heard that shaped your life. Well, thank you so much, Halo and Tutu. That's Mama. That's Mama over there. Mama, for joining me. Although Mama didn't want to get on her face on the live today. That's okay. We'll catch her at another time. We kind of did this. We did this improv
On a whim.
Yeah.
off the cuff, right? All right. Do you want to leave us with anything, Sister Halo? Is there anything that you want to say?
Everybody have a good day and don't be mean to people. Yeah.
You know, you said the same thing now. When I when you was a little girl, I did a little interview with you, a little something on the couch
Did I have Donald Duck with me?
You had Donald Duck with
Yeah.
you, and you said the same thing. I said, "Halo, is there anything?" You said the exact same thing. The exact same thing. All right, listen, y'all. Be good, be kind, be nice to people, and be nice to yourself. Until next time, this is Grandpa and Granddaughter. We out. Okay, how do I escape this? All right.